So our enrollment has gone through considerable change over the last 7 to 10 years. We kind of peaked in 2016 at about 38,000 students, and then, as everybody knows, we've seen a decline these last few years.
And we've had 4 successive years of drops in enrollment. There's a small decline or some decline in the freshman class, but what we're also seeing is an acceleration of students completing their degrees. We used to have a percentage of our students that would stay for a 5th and even a 6th year. Now that affordability is more of an issue, they're not doing that. They're graduating in 4 years.
So when I think of the fact that this year we were budgeting for a little over $400 million in our total $700 million revenue budget, that was our tuition and fees. We also have a significant amount of revenue that comes to us from the state through the state share of instruction, and that's another $160 million. So if you think about $700 million budget, more than 560 million of it this year, it was really driven by those enrollments. And so when you lose enrollments, that revenue base naturally contracts.
In some ways we got spoiled because we were innovative in developing some new programs ahead of other schools. One of the programs was the RN to BSN. Another example is how quickly we moved to develop a suite of graduate business programs that we marketed.
Well, the RN to BSN program was really the second program we committed to doing online. We got into the market early. When we started that program, I think there were maybe 5 other programs online in the US. We figured out how to be competitive with our price point, and then we worked hard to make sure there was a level of quality to the courses. So the program grew to over 5,000 students at its peak, and is still somewhere well above 3,500 students, but it's clearly a different marketplace today.
What we probably didn't recognize fast enough was how the market was changing. And there was 3 trends that impacted all of higher education. The first trend, which is absolutely critical for a university like Ohio, was the move away from full-time residential students. And then the second factor, of course, which we're all aware, is demographics. So 80% of our students come from the state of Ohio. And in the state of Ohio, we have seen a change in the demographics in the number of students who graduate from high school. And so this has been going on for probably about 6 years now, and it is forecasted to go on for another 10 years until past 2030. And then the third factor, which has really impacted us since 2016, is the level of competition in the state of Ohio. If you look at 2016, Ohio University had about 11% share of all the high school graduates who graduated from the schools in Ohio came to Ohio University, enrolled in Ohio. And today, this fall, 2020, we are projecting that we're going to be down to about a 9% market share of all those students. So we've seen the demographics go down, but also we've lost share. So both those factors have really impacted us.
Even if you suspect there's going to be change, it's difficult to spend a lot of time worrying about it when the numbers are still going up. I think the challenge for us today is how do we catch up? Because we didn't deal 6 years ago with what we probably should have suspected was coming, and now we're trying to catch up.
The financial changes we have to make are, well, they're not short term, right? I mean, the enrollment changes that we are experiencing are not going to change for the next 10 years. So this is going to have a long-term impact on the finances of the university. We have to think about how we can operate more efficiently. This is a very difficult time for all of us, but if we have to make these changes.
The pressure to change and evolve, and the pressure to be nimble is going to be that much greater. And I think Ohio University in 5 years can be a much stronger institution, but it's going to have to look somewhat differently if it wants to be a much stronger institution. We've always talked about we want to be excellent, and I think that should be our focus. How do we be excellent, and then how do we make sure we're positioned size-wise and resource-wise to be excellent in whatever ways we can.